like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see from up here.
Oh, thanks for joining me. I was just flying my plane around the Great Pyramids. But you're not here to see that. You saw the title that said A Weekend with the Surface Duo. So let's talk about that. In this video, I'm going to talk about my trip last weekend with the Surface Duo to see if it can do the job of many other devices. So let's go take a look at the devices that I normally bring with me on a trip. So I would have a mouse, I would have a laptop of some kind, a phone obviously. I would also have a pair of headphones for both the plane but also video conferencing. I would have a tablet for watching movies, and here's a reader for reading books and listening to audiobooks. Can I replace that with this setup, which contains a Surface Duo, a pair of earbuds by Microsoft, a Microsoft foldable keyboard, Microsoft mouse, and a stand? Again, could this be replaced with just that? In this video, I'll demonstrate how I used the device over the weekend, what I got done with it, and at the end I'll talk about the 3 great things about it and the 3 things that weren't so great. So if you're all ready, let's start. But first I better go land this plane.
Like a bird on a tree.
Let's start with what is this device. The Surface Duo 2 is a phone, and it is a Surface Duo 2 because of the camera that was added in the second version on the outside. It is the hardware is done by Microsoft, so this design of the hardware, and the OS, or the software that runs inside, is your typical Android phone with some Microsoft additions to it. It opens like this to reveal the OS, has a fingerprint reader, and you're presented with a very busy but very informative home screen containing many things. We'll talk about those things a little bit later. Has some great features. As far as the hardware goes, it can fold back on itself to reveal a more one-handed style phone, versus maybe this is probably more of a two-handed style phone that you might use. It can also sort of fold in, say, tent mode. It could also be displayed vertically, horizontally as well. So with that out of the way, we're going to start talking about how this phone is used and the type of productivity you can get done with this and all the different places you could use this. Okay, first thing we're going to do, I want to show you some just basic navigation. You'll see that a lot of this is very Android-like in terms of navigation, but some few interesting things to highlight. So here's your home page, and the home page here has widgets that display specific information. And but the first feature that I want to show you is being able to display to launch 2 applications at once, one on each screen. So I can go here, down in the lower corner it says Mail and Calendar. So I hit this button, and now on the left side I have my calendar, on the right side I have my email. So with one button push I now get that information that I want. I can grab this window. I could move it over to this side if I wanted to. I could grab it, move it back, or I could put it right in the middle. Now I have a full screen view. I can move it back to this side. If I took the Mail app and made it full screen, I now have my mail list on the left side and the details of each mail on the right side. Very much like a desktop computer or laptop might be. Now let's move into the Picture app. So say you have, let's go to the Camera app. Okay, so now let's take a picture. So you have all of your pictures that you've taken on the left side, your camera on the right side. We'll take a picture, say, of that Kraken. We'll zoom in a little bit and take a picture of that. Okay. So now that appears on the left side, and you can click Edit. So now you're using both screens to edit. Now you can easily be able to select different options for, say, cropping this. I like that one. We'll go with that one, but we'll shrink this down a little bit. Okay, so we'll go with that. And you could adjust brightness, brighten up a little bit, some highlights. Let's just make that interesting. Some shadows, and put it there. We'll do a filter. Now you can select different filters. A little nostalgic filter looks kind of nice, vintage, and markup. And you could select. Let's say something like that. So save it, and now you've done some basic editing. The other thing that's interesting to talk about is the keyboard. So if we bring up an application, in this case we'll bring up the Mail again, and we will create a new message, and you'll see we have what's called the thumb keyboard, which you would pick up and you'd be able to type using your thumbs. You could also pick a floating keyboard, which you can move around to where you want it. Maybe you want the same screen as the application, maybe you want a different one. You can also have the one-handed keyboard, so you would use one thumb to type and be able to reach all the letters. And then, of course, a full keyboard across the bottom. So now you've been working for a long time, you've opened a bunch of apps, and now you want to see all the apps. Slide up and hold for a second, and then you can switch to any apps that you want to, bring them over to whatever screen you want to, and go from there. Those are just a few of the things that are worth noting about the Surface Duo 2's interface. Another great feature that I like is the ability to take notes easily. This is the Surface Pen 2, and feels great in the hand. And I'll show you, actually attaches to the Surface Duo. Taking notes, click on this once. Note-taking app opens. Select a new page if that's what you want. Touch here, and you're taking notes. So that is pretty cool. I plan to use that in my conference this weekend. Flip it over, it is an eraser, so you can erase your notes. Very convenient, easy to do, and as I mentioned before, fold this over and the pen will attach itself very securely to the end of the tablet. And I do realize that I will spend time calling this a tablet or a computer or a phone. And we will figure out what's what this weekend. What I haven't shown much of is its different modes. Obviously, you can take this and you can turn it this way. So it's up and down if you want to do it that way. You can also play the video in tent mode. So pick a video, play the video in tent mode, or you can take the video, put it on top, and you could do email or something like that down here while the video plays above it. Also maximize the video as well. And in addition, you could certainly take the video and make it full screen with just that little stripe in the middle where the fold is. Okay. All right. Well, that is going to do it, at least in the beginning, for the Surface Duo. Next up, I'll do some videos with me on the road using it and commentary along the way. So here we are on the plane, and this is a typical mode you might look at when you are trying to do some work on the plane. So maybe triaging, you have your pen in your hand, you're taking some notes. Very convenient to compare emails or notes on one side and be writing things, responding to an email on the other. Again, this is not bringing out any other devices or flipping open a giant laptop. This is just using it like that. This then demonstrates the ability to watch movies in different modes, whether it's the full screen as you see here or it's the tent mode. I have this sped up a little bit just to save the time. We also have the ability to interrupt that, then respond to a text, and then go back to the movie, rewind, and play the movie right there. So I won't spend a lot of time on specs. The camera does everything that you would expect a high-end camera to do in terms of power and speed. This demonstrates the ability of how it is to take pictures. You open the phone and you get a preview on one screen while you take the picture. This is what the picture looks like. Here's some additional pictures that I took on the plane as well. Here's me doing a spin around selfie just to demonstrate the speed and of the camera itself. This is me taking more pictures inside the museum. This is a selfie, so we fold it over. Probably could have used the timer function to make that better, but I didn't. Here's an example of another selfie and photos with the camera indoors. And I'll let you watch those pictures. Now next up, shooting video again. This is inside the case inside of the museum. So I'm just panning across to show you how it picks up the different colors and speed of the video recording. And one other thing now is I got out my keyboard, and I have my mouse over here, keyboard, and there's the phone right there. I'm going to do a few emails here. So first thing I'm going to do is go back to the home screen. I'll bring up my mail here. I'll get mail on one side and that on the other. And I can go through here and I can do some triaging of email pretty easily. But I'm going to answer a few emails that came in for me, just personal emails. So that's how I'm doing with my keyboard.
Good job, Lisa. So, yeah, just kind of taking it easy this weekend. Let me show you the outside right now. It was, so this is not cloudy. This is haze.
What you just saw was a video call between me and my son, and he on Surface Duo 2. We have the machine in vertical mode, so you get a nice big picture of his video, which he's doing on his phone, and looks great, and sound is very, very acceptable. And that is a wonderful way to do video calls. Okay, I'm back from my trip, and you got to see all the different places I used the device. I didn't show it to you in many of these spots, but you can get a sense of how I'd use it through taking notes, through doing multitasking, and watching videos, and sort of see and see how things go. So now are my top 3 likes and dislikes of the device. The first one's got to be the multitasking, being able to have 2 apps open at once, switch between them very easily, copy, paste one from another, watch videos while you're treasuring mail or looking at Facebook. It just makes the device come alive, unlike any normal phone that you might have that only has a single screen. So that's the first thing, is the multitasking. I think it allows you to get work and truly say, hey, this is a device that having a couple apps open and switching between them, I could get some work done. The second thing is, I along with that, is that it did what it was supposed to do. It replaced the number of devices I might have brought on a trip down to just one, and was able to do all those things, some of them very well, some of them reasonably well. Where a longer trip, several weeks or something like that, I would probably want a larger screen to watch movies, or a more tactile keyboard rather than a foldable one. But for short trips, it's a no-brainer, and I think that by itself is a really strong testament to how good the device is. And the third one is it's just cool. It is cool to hold. It's cool to open. It's cool to play around with. The screens are protected when it's closed. Not as heavy as you might think. It's not that much heavier than the phone. And people ask about it all the time wherever I am. I feel like the pen, I've had phones that have had pens. This one kind of brings the pen alive and really is showing where the pen can be a great asset to getting work done and integration with something of this size. And we're seeing improvements coming from Microsoft on the OS all the time. There's a big one coming up soon that I hope handles a lot more windowing issues that have come up. But overall, those are my three likes. 3 dislikes: battery anxiety, probably with any phone. Take it to an all-day meeting, and that you're going to be interacting, taking notes, whether you're typing on a normal phone or a laptop. And unless you have a very select few, you're going to be worried when it becomes 3 o'clock. And in this case, I started the day at 8:30. And by noon, I was below 50%, and I began doing things like turning off the Wi-Fi, turning off the Bluetooth, trying to make sure I wasn't going to fall short when I needed it the most. I could have bought a backup battery to charge it. But it did end up lasting the whole day. It wasn't a huge deal, but it would give me pause if I knew a meeting was going longer or was even going to be more device intensive. So battery anxiety is certainly one of those things. The second one is sometimes a big deal, and that is it's not a great phone. Now, part of this is because of my provider, Google Fi. This phone is not doesn't work the best and well integrated with Google Fi, and I won't go into why that is, but it does drop calls, and the signal is often not the best, and it is more of the fault of the integration between Google Fi and this device than it is the device, I believe. But when you have a phone and sometimes it's not a great phone, it definitely makes the experience a lot worse. And the third thing is that it does feel like it is a work in progress in terms of the software integration, in terms of the advancements in the camera and the types of scenarios that they are expecting you to be able to do really well with aren't quite polished. There are email apps that when you drag them across both screens, they they don't do it in the right way, and they should. All apps are not two-screen aware, so this does the best it can, but often falls short. Whereas other apps that are built in here do a great job, and that's where you want everything to be at. It's all not quite there. But so those are the pluses and minuses. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it ran rather long, and thank you so much. Put comments below. Take care. So one last thing I wanted to show you all was the ability to play Flight Simulator on your Surface Duo. I'm using a gamepad controller. I'm using Game Pass from Microsoft, and this is their cloud platform. So by just using this as a screen, you're able to take Flight Simulator with you on the go. And I have been very impressed with the graphics, the speed, the responsiveness. And here you have a phone that now can double as your on-the-go gaming console via the cloud. And pretty amazing to be able to do this. It looks much better, not on this video, but in person. But I just wanted to share with you that little bonus with the Surface Duo 2.